Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and feel free to comment down below what you would like me to do for future guitar-related videos. So, a while back, I think a little over a year ago, on my current anime and cartoon channel, that's just called Steve Gray, if you're interested in looking at it, I did a video about kind of my experience with Craigslist and buying items off of Craigslist. Keep in mind, over probably the past 10 years, I have bought a lot of items, mainly guitars and video game things, off of Craigslist. I think I bought a sword off of there once because I wanted a sword when I was like 18. My parents never let me have a sword, so I went out and got one. Got one for 30 bucks, and now I collect dust. And they were kind of right. I didn't need a sword, and I don't need a sword, but I have a sword. Anyway. I want to just talk about my general experiences buying stuff off of Craigslist, the do's, the don'ts, are you getting better deals, etc. So overall, my experience with Craigslist has been fine. Never had any major issues. The only major issue I had, I think, was one time a guy literally was playing a guitar I had for 2 hours, and I was like, okay, he likes it, so that means he's going to buy it, right? And then it was like 10 o'clock at night. I needed to work the next day. I was ready to go to bed. And I was like, look, buddy, I'm not trying to be mean, but you either need to buy the guitar or move on. You've been playing it for 2 hours. Clearly you like it. If you want it, buy it. If not, please leave. And he didn't buy the guitar. So don't be afraid to be stirred. A Craigslist deal, I mean, even if you're talking shit with a guy, talking gear, or video games or whatever you're buying off of Craigslist, you shouldn't really need to have more than a 20 to 30 minute interaction. Driving wise, I'm usually driving 20 to 30 minutes to get items. Sometimes if I don't feel like getting something, or if they offer to deliver, I will allow them to come to my house. However, when I do this, I always make sure somebody else is home with me, because I mean, I hate to say it, but you never know. Somebody might show up to your house with some sort of weapon, try to rob you. So definitely have somebody in the house with you if you allow them to come to your house. Otherwise, really no big issues there. Lock your doors. Don't have anything valuable laying around outside that they can take either. Unfortunately, in today's society, if you are a woman, I highly recommend going with somebody. So if you're going to pick an item up from some random strange dude, take a friend along, parent, relative, whatever, some guy, somebody that you know fairly well, just to have two of you there. I was kind of in a weird situation one time where I had a guy come over to look at a guitar amp. He was trading me for a big TV. I think it was like a 55-inch TV. And I was messing with the TV, and he was just looking kind of sketchy. And I'm just thankful I had my parents there at the time. This was a few years back. So that way nothing happened there. Long story short, I sold that TV to another super sketchy guy that I'm pretty confident was selling drugs. 90% of the money that he gave me for the TV was in 10s, 5s, and 1s, not a lot of 20s or 100s, which you would think, if you're paying more than a couple $100 for something, bring some 20s, bring some bigger bills. There was like 12 dudes in this apartment. I had my dad and my sister with me. It friggin' smelled of weed and pot smoke everywhere. But I counted the money 2 or 3 times. The guy was content, and I just got the hell out of there. I did not want to deal with it because he had this whole crew there, and it was very concerning. I had my back turned to him. At any point in time, any of them could have been like, all right, we're taking this TV. Thanks for bringing it to my house, because I actually got the guy to give me more money. Because if you offer to deliver it within like a 20-minute to 30-minute distance, don't be afraid to add $10 to $20 on there. To get more money. So the biggest thing is, if you're buying something or you're selling something, just guy or girl, especially if you're a girl in today's age, just make sure to have another person with you. It makes everything a lot safer. Everything's good to go. Another good option is if you don't have the opportunity to have another person with you, if it's something that you don't have to plug in, or something you can test with a 9-volt battery, like a guitar pedal, just click it, make sure it turns on. Then you're good to go. You just basically show up to a public location, go to like a Dunkin' Donuts or something, whatever, Walmart, any public location. If you got a way to test it, great, do that. Otherwise, if it's just something, as I said, if it's a guitar and it's going to work, you want it, it's a cheap enough price where you don't care. If you got to mess with electronics a little bit, not a big deal there. Just for instance, I met a guy in I think it was McDonald's parking lot, about 20 minutes away from my house, and I didn't have a way to plug the guitar in, but on the listing he said guitar wiring is a little finicky, pretty sure if you just take it to a shop you can get it fixed. So I got a nice guitar with Seymour Duncan pickups in it. I went down to my local guitar store, and he messed with it for about 5 minutes, realized one water was unsired, and he charged me I think 10, maybe $15, just to basically, he just did a quick solder job. And usually something like that, sometimes they won't even charge you if you know the guy. But I wanted to give him something. I think I threw him $10 just because, he does a lot of stuff for me, and he'll look over stuff for free, which is pretty nice. But yeah, so you can definitely find stuff cheaper than like a local, like any type of guitar store. I don't care if it's like a big Guitar Center type store or if it's like a local store. You're going to be able to find things cheaper off of Craigslist. Because, for instance, you take something at the Guitar Center, they're only going to give you like 60% of its worth. So say you have a Gibson Les Paul, it's worth $1,000. They're going to give you $600. They're going to make $400 off of it. And then they're not going to budge on the price at all. There's nowhere to budge. Craigslist, it's nice because if they are like, hey, I want $800 for it, you offer them $700, so they're getting $100 more than they would have if they brought it to Guitar Center, and generally that person is particularly happy. Know what you're buying. Look at Reverb, eBay, other sites, see what they're selling for to, if someone's freaking like making stuff skyrocket on price. Like right now, I'm looking at an Epiphone Les Paul for $900. It's an Epiphone Les Paul standard. You can get one of those for $300 all day in a guitar store if you know where to look. So just make sure you know what you're looking at. As I said, the worst experience I had was probably the weird drug thing. And then the worst was when I went to an extremely sketchy area. Guy was nice, no actual problems with the dude himself. After I sold that TV because I realized I wanted my guitar amp back, but the guy that I sold the guitar or traded the TV for the amp for didn't want the TV back, so I couldn't do anything about it. I sold that TV, and then I went and bought the worst Marshall stack imaginable because I didn't realize tube and solid state was a thing. The first Marshall half stack I had was a ATV 50 half stack, so it's a nice mid-range, got some preamp tubes in it. A lot of people like them, a lot of people don't like them, it's personal preference. I got an MG full stack with the money that I got for the TV, and everybody right now is laughing at me in the comments because they're like, you idiot, you bought an MG full stack, what is wrong with you? And I think I traveled, 40 to 45 minutes. I was like 16, 17 at the time. I didn't even know. I was like, sweet, I can get a full stack for $400. I'm going. So me and my dad hopped in his truck. We friggin' loaded the 2 cabs in the truck. And let me tell you, that stuff was big, bulky, and weighed a lot. The cabs and the head, I think, are a little bit undersized than normal cabs. But you got to have room to put it. So yeah, definitely got to have, if you need a truck, make sure you know somebody with a truck for that. And then I actually did make money off of that. I don't have that anymore. Basically what I did is I thought I could keep the cab, but it was only a 120 watt cab. That's pretty low for a 4x12. Usually if you see like a 120 watt cab, you're looking at like a 2x12, but no. These are some crappy off-brand speakers. I mean, it didn't sound too bad, but I just wanted something better because I knew I could get something better. So I think I ended up just parting it out, every single piece individually instead of the entire thing, and got a decent amount of money. I think I sold the head with the B cab for like $300, $350, somewhere around there. And then I sold just the A cab eventually for maybe like $200. So I mean, I got my money's back at least. That's all you can really ask for, is try to at least get your money's back. Make sure if something is broken, that is definitely an issue that might happen. You might find when you buy something, you get it back and it's broken. So know what to look for. Amps is an iffy area. Because, I mean, if something breaks on especially a tube amp, a solid state, most of the time you're not really going to have any issues. Most of them are built like tanks. They last forever. Tube amps, typically it's a tube issue. But make sure you know a decent amp tech, and make sure you don't get into the amp for too much money. I don't know a whole lot about tube amps. Obviously, I know if it's working or not. But the carving back there, I did have an issue where it was missing a screw in the transformer, making this terrible noise. But the guy was nice. He didn't even charge me for it. He just put a screw in it for me, and now it works fine. Don't have any issues with it. So they rattle, they vibrate, so a lot of screws and other parts can get loose and cause you problems inevitably in the long run. Cabinets, you don't really have to worry about buying a cab because it's like 2 or 3 wires per speaker. If something's wrong, just bring it to a guitar tech, and I can guarantee you they can fix it in like 5 to 10 minutes. Worst comes to worst, if you know how to use a soldering iron, you're good to go. Guitars, electronics, not too hard to work on as long as you don't have a whole bunch going on. If you got a piezo in the guitar or some sort of onboard effects and there's issues with it, it is going to probably cost you a lot more money than if it's just like a standard guitar with a couple of humbuckers or single coils and a couple of pots. Because typically if something's wrong with electronics, a tech can fix it for like maybe $50 max, depending on how long they got to do it. But definitely make sure to look down the guitar neck, make sure it's straight, no warping. Feel the fret ends, make sure you're not going to have to get any fret work, because fret work does get expensive. If you do it yourself like me, I tried doing it myself on one guitar, messed up a little bit, but not too bad. But it's something that I really don't like doing on my guitars. I can do a simple setup. If the setup's really bad, no issue, but the main issue is if it has a warped neck, because then that's a whole other ballpark. And then you might be able to get, if it's a removable neck like a Fender, you might be able to get something like an American guitar if it has a warped neck for a ridiculously low price. So that might be something that you are interested in as well, because you can just always slap another neck on there if it's a bolt-on. Anyway, thank you for listening to my Craigslist ramble. My name is Steve Gray. Yet again, if you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. And as always, have a good one.